What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the live watch along, Chelsea versus Club America. I just want to put a special thank you out to Club America for putting in their lineup out, I think, 3 or 4 minutes before the stream started. So a little hectic getting that in on the score bug, but we are happy to be here with you. As always, we are our presenting sponsor and somebody that I work with very closely is Simon Phillips. Simon runs Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea. If you can go ahead and see that link right above me, go to that link up here in the description, and you guys can go ahead and check out all of his great content. I'm just going to tweet out that we are live. How's everyone doing today? What's up to everybody watching? Where are you guys watching from in the chat? Hopefully I see a couple familiar faces from last week. That would be fantastic. We have a lot to get into before the match even begins. It was a just an absolute briefing central a few minutes ago. So I think the best one to talk about is with Ben Jacobs. So Ben Jacobs did a really nice job laying it all out there. So as we can see here, I'll just read through the tweet. Understand Conor Gallagher turned down a new 3-year, 2+1 contract extension at Chelsea today, as well as in early June. Wages offered comparable to the highest earners in Chelsea's midfield. I would assume that's Enzo and Caicedo. As reported, Chelsea have agreed a package with Atletico Madrid in excess of 40 million euros, including add-ons, and will support a move to Spain if that's Gallagher's preference. No terms agreed yet on the player's side. Below, Aston Villa also had a club record bid accepted for Gallagher in June, but he decided to stay at Chelsea. Chelsea would prefer to sell Gallagher abroad than to a Premier League rival, and the Atletico offer accepted is well below the one made by Villa. Both Chelsea and Atletico Madrid are now waiting for feedback from Gallagher. So it is a messy situation, and it's been a situation that's kind of been drug out until this very point now, where Conor Gallagher has a good Champions League club. You know, it is abroad for him, offering him, but is that going to be the one that tickles his fancy, so to speak, and gets him to move on? I rate Gallagher as a player. I think Gallagher offers a certain thing, but I think if the club are, hell-bent on selling him and moving on from him, then we are in a position where, Gallagher does have the leverage. Gallagher, was turned down an extension. He could very well hold out and not make it into, Atletico. He might not go there. So then his contract runs out and it goes for free. He can go anywhere he wants. It is a worst case scenario for Chelsea. But time will tell. Atletico Madrid is a very attractive club for a guy like Gallagher. I think Simeone's style fits him extremely well. So we'll have to wait and see what Gallagher decides to do. What do you all think in the chat about Gallagher? Do you guys think he should stay? Do you think he should go? I know a lot of people, rate him in a sense where he's homegrown. Chelsea have, really moved out a lot of those guys at this point. So what do you guys think about Gallagher? And then we'll talk about that for a second, and then we'll get into the match coming up. But this was huge breaking news. This is one of the biggest sagas I think that Chelsea have this summer, outside of Victor Osimhen, who's another person that we will talk about, I'm sure, during the stream. So Gallagher to Atletico Madrid is now waiting for Gallagher's response to this. Do you guys think he's going to stay? Do you think he's going to go? I think he kind of secretly wants to stick it to Chelsea a little bit. I definitely think that that's something that he would be more than, willing to do, just because of how poorly Chelsea have sort of treated him. But he does seem to thrive with every manager that Chelsea does bring in. So, there's a couple of different ways that you can look at this. Favor, how's it going, man? Welcome on into the chat. I believe you were here last time as well, so great to see you back. I'm not entirely sure about Gallagher. What do you guys think? There's definitely a lot to get into. And we all know transfer window is absolutely crazy, but we do have a match to get into tonight. We have a interesting starting 11 from Chelsea. Levi Colwill. The game starts in about 9 minutes. It should. It's not always right on time, especially in these U.S. games. Sorry, I gotta turn this guy on. It's not always right on time in the U.S. That's not how it works for like MLS either, but it should start here in a little bit. All right, we got that queued up. So yeah, Levi Colwill is out. There has been thoughts that he has potentially a little bit of a knock, but I think it's just load management at this point for Levi. So we'll definitely have to monitor that. If it's load management, fantastic. But we do see an interesting back line here from Chelsea with having Malo Gusto and Reece James in the lineup. Which one of them will invert is now my question. I think Reece James probably plays that right-sided center back and Gusto goes in the midfield because you do want, if we truly are possessing the ball as we hope to, that right center back does have the ability to get forward just a little bit and be willing to put balls in the box. Guiu gets his third consecutive start. Nico Jackson is not ready yet. Broja is out on the bench, didn't play last match if I'm not mistaken, so it appears that Broja's time is up as well. Romeo Lavia yet again starting for Chelsea. You love to see that. He played about 60 minutes last game, 45 the one before that, so hopefully he can stretch it out a bit. And a surprise on the bench right now is Enzo Fernandez, who just came back, but he seems like he is ready to go. Caicedo is back too, but he is not in the lineup. Just looking at that subs bench, man, we got a lot of work to do, a lot of business. We do know that Ugochukwu will be going out on loan. We assume that Broja will be gone. Angelo is another one that I'm not entirely sure about, because if Chelsea do not sign a winger and you start to suggest that, he might be the only backup available for Noni Madueke, you could move Sterling over there, but you don't know for sure if that's going to be what Chelsea decide to do, because then you have, Mudryk and Sterling on the left and Madueke and Angelo on the right. But if Victor Osimhen comes in, which is the big news of the week and kind of what all Chelsea fans are waiting for the next step of that, does Nico Jackson then move a little bit to the left, play a little bit more advanced, almost like a pairing up there? It will be interesting to see, and I think that will determine the fate of somebody like Angelo Gabriel. Fofana's on the bench. Viega, who I would like to have seen start today. I thought he played just a few, 10 minutes or so against Celtic, so I'd like to see more of him today. Jorgensen also is on the bench today. We have 4 goalkeepers that are on the bench. 5 in the squad as well, so that doesn't even count some of the ones that we have that aren't with us right now, like Kepa and Slonina, so goalkeeper sales need to move on. Are you in the chat, are you guys comfortable with Jorgensen and Sanchez as your keepers? I think, when you start to look at the landscape of things and what time how many players are going to be playing in that squad, I don't feel comfortable, frankly, with those two as my goalkeeper options. I haven't really watched too much of Jorgensen. I know a little bit about him. I know his distribution is supposedly pretty good. He does concede a goal or two, so it's not the perfect keeper, or he would be, 95, 100 million or something like that. So there's something to work on there. But I'm sure he will get an opportunity to play today. He did train yesterday. And another guy in the starting lineup that we are seeing for the very first time in a Chelsea shirt is Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. Really excited to see where he will fit in. I wonder if he or Nkunku will be, I wonder what sides they'll be on the top of the box midfield. Let me just pull up the field really quick for you. So This is how I suspect that they're going to line up. I suspect it's going to be Malo Gusto inverting and Reece James playing right center back. I expect Tosin to play as the center back. I think Dewsbury-Hall is naturally left-footed, has played a lot on the left-hand side at Leicester City, obviously is comfortable and understands that position, so I think he will go there, and Nkunku will go on the right. Really interested to see how Gusto looks in that inverted midfield role yet again, because I think that, you know, when you start to check it out, right, like, he was not that great against Wrexham. He just wasn't. So he was really out of control and going into a bunch of different areas. So there is going to be a lot to look over to in this match. We're going to be right with you doing some tactical breakdowns. I have this cool software where I can move players around. I can, you know, make lines, show you guys what's kind of happening. Club America lineup came out late, so we just have a very basic number lineup for them here, so please excuse me if you were looking for that, but they are not there at this point. All right, well, I'm happy to have everybody here. We have about 49 viewers in the chat right now. I'd love to hear from some of you guys on what you think about Gallagher, what you think about the lineup. Victor Osimhen is another really hot topic that fans are really interested to hear about. I personally would like it. I think if you can get a loan with obligation or just a straight purchase, that's fine. It's just kind of an accounting thing at that sense. But do you think he blocks Nico Jackson is another question. So that's something to consider as well. So I'm just going to send out another notification here. The match will start in about 3 minutes. It's not, however, on my screen yet. So we will get into that. Jeffrey, yeah, where is Caicedo? Caicedo is training. He is not playing as of yet. As you can see by the lineup here, he is not on the bench to this point. I think everyone just takes a little bit more time. He did have a little bit more of an extended break. Enzo just had a week or a week and a half off, so he's probably fit enough to maybe get a few minutes here at the end. What was interesting is that Enzo reportedly was practicing in the 8 position. So we all kind of expected that he would sort of feature in this role here where Lavia is. However, he's been playing sort of in this role. So, you know, what does that mean for Enzo, right? And does that mean more for Lavia? And where does Caicedo fit in all this? So when those guys come back, I think we'll get a clearer picture, but there's definitely strengths and weaknesses from each player in determining where, you know, those guys will fit. I think Enzo in that area is an interesting one. He can shoot, he can pass in those channels. We really saw Nkunku in the preseason friendlies so far, Aaron Carney, operate in these areas a lot. So, you know, that's a really good opportunity for, you know, little slide passes to the right winger here, getting some intricate, you know, passes with the striker that's in that area. So we'll see if he comes on today, what position he is going to play. Emma, I don't like the number 5. He needs to get sold. Benoit Badiashile, I think you're talking about. Badiashile has made plenty of mistakes. I was actually at the game against Celtic, and some of his passing and just the whole back line's passing was just dreadful. It was really disappointing, especially, you know, you spend all that money, you take the trip down there, and it's kind of hard to stomach when you get battered like that. So that was not good. Let's see if I can get this game on here. Okay. So the game will be starting here in a few minutes. My stream finally decided to come on, which was good. Miracle, why is he still using Sanchez? That's a great question. I think Jorgensen at this point has just gotten a couple matches in at this point, so he's still a little raw. So, you know, he has to kind of work with the back line a little bit. I wouldn't expect, him to necessarily get the starts right away. I think he's got to kind of earn it. So hopefully he plays a little bit today, get some of that, distribution right and whatnot. And Jorgensen then takes, control of the position, because I just don't think Robert Sanchez simply has that in him, to be honest. I'm really disappointed with that signing and the way that the board went about that signing, and it seemed like he was just a sweetener, really, for Moises Caicedo to get that over the line, which was kind of crazy. All right, let me just tweet out that the match is about to start. The players are headed out there right now. Super excited. Another match. So you got to be happy about that at least. So new beginnings after that pretty crummy match against Celtics. So hopefully they can kind of pick it up a little bit there. So we also noticed that Club America is in the middle of their season, so they're probably in a bit more of form than Chelsea are at this point. They did rotate a little bit, but they sort of have, a little bit more practice and a little bit more time on task with each other. So they should be a formidable opponent. Sorry about that. Just want to get these tweets out, let people know that we are in here. Emma also says, when is Palmer going to come back? Palmer will not be coming on the U.S. tour. Palmer will be coming back a little bit after the fact. He long run, and same with Cucurella and Gallagher. If he were to stay, they'll be coming back. They'll probably play in that Inter Milan match at Stamford Bridge right before the season begins, a week before, and they'll get some training in. All right, so the broadcast I'm watching has Malo Gusto playing left back. I don't foresee that as what it's going to be. I mean, he technically could play left back and still invert into the midfield. But once the match sort of starts, we'll put it on the screen, kind of what we're seeing. And hopefully I can, join you along and watch you and kind of guide you through some of the tactical stuff that I'm seeing in the match. Doesn't look like too big of a crowd there in Atlanta, but there is quite a few Chelsea fans down there. I know Atlanta is one of the hotbeds for soccer. This is a nice stadium down there. Football, I'm sorry. But we'll see. What do you guys think of those new uniforms? I saw them in person. And when I saw them in person, I actually kind of liked them. Tiowa, it's starting right now. It's about to start. So I'm not sure what time it is where you are. But the match is about to start. In Miracle, the match will not be shown here. I'm going to be able to kind of walk you through what I'm seeing tactically, but obviously because of, streaming rights and whatnot, I'm not going to be able to show that on here. So I apologize for that, but I'd be happy to kind of walk you through what we're seeing and talk about the game here. So feel free to stay on in. And we will get started here in a moment. They're doing the coin toss, getting some pictures taken and whatnot. And then we'll get going. Interesting to see how Kieran Dewsbury-Hall looks. I'm really excited. I think that was a pretty shrewd signing from Chelsea. I think he's a player that you could be, pleasantly surprised with when you're talking about somebody who, really thrived in Maresca's system last season. He scored a lot of goals. He was also put into a lot of goal-scoring situations, much more than any of his other time at Leicester. So people are like, well, is it a flash in the pan, his goal-scoring? Well, if you look at his shot numbers almost tripled in one season from all of his previous times. So he's getting more opportunities, and his ability to, finish in those situations was really put on display last year in the championship. Premier League is different, of course, but we'll see how it shakes out in the long run. So, all right, the match will be starting in a moment. They're just doing their final little pans. The ref will be pointing to the center spot here in a minute. I got this clock at the bottom that wasn't working last time, but I fixed. Yep, so it appears that Malo Gusto is technically playing left back, but he is inverting into the midfield. Reece James is playing right-sided center back. The clock is going. All right, so what we're seeing here is Lavia and Gusto. So Gusto is playing an inverted left back role. And right on the dot, Chelsea's in the front foot. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall does a nice little overlap with Sterling down here. So right away, Chelsea were on it. Usman, yeah, so we're not watching here. We don't have the rights to watch the game. Nobody does except for the team, you know, however the club is going to stream it themselves. So we'll be doing a match watch along with a tactical analysis. Fede, Caicedo is not ready yet at this point. He's just doing some training right now. He's not going to be in the squad as of right now. So we saw right away a nice little bit of interchange from Nkunku all the way over to Sterling. And Chelsea have gotten a penalty. Romeo Lavia has drawn a penalty right away in the very first minutes of the game. Lavia with a really excellent touch and a very reckless challenge. Didn't really make too much contact, but he dove in late. And it was a penalty. I don't believe VAR is involved right now, and it looks like Noni Madueke is taking it, which is interesting because of Christopher Nkunku is on the pitch. So Nkunku has taken a penalty before in the last match. And Noni was trying to take it. Tosin went and talked to him, and now Nkunku's taking it. So Tosin showing his leadership right away, coming in and really putting his thumb down on it, which you gotta like to see after last year's penalty snafu. Understandable, Madueke wants to get off the ground running. Probably disappointed not to take it, but Nkunku's on the spot, and he scores. 1-0 to Chelsea in the 3rd minute already, off of a penalty. Let me update the score there. 1-0 to Chelsea. Christopher Nkunku with the goal on the penalty drawn by Romeo Lavia. A pretty reckless challenge, nevertheless, from the Club America defender, but great ability from Romeo Lavia to get into the box, keep a tough dribble, and eventually score for Nkunku on the penalty. So we saw initially, before this sequence happened, we saw a really good example of where these midfielders are going to try and play, right? So Nkunku was right here, and Dewsbury-Hall was a little bit off. So Nkunku was looking for the shot, dribbling this way, found a pass to Raheem right here, and Dewsbury-Hall playing that left channel came around here and got a nice little pass, and it resulted in a corner. So that's just one way that those attacking eights will, be very versatile and flexible. And you see Nkunku coming into this center position, right? And Dewsbury-Hall coming all the way over here. So they have license to roam quite a bit. And you saw that there. So a really nice start from Chelsea. I'm really interested to see how they play defensively. Now, Celtic is a better team than Club America. So, you have to take that into consideration, but you definitely wanted a better performance right from the jump because they were very lethargic. Dominic, which time? I'm not sure what you mean by that, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's a good start from Chelsea. 1-0 up on the penalty. We'd like to see some open play goals from this point from Chelsea. Yep, Jeffrey, Chelsea did score. So they're up 1-0. Christopher Nkunku scored the penalty. Romeo Lavia drew the penalty. So another thing that I kind of am liking that I'm seeing is, and this is just not from this game, it's from all the games that we've seen to this point, is Mark Guiu. Mark Guiu has been really impressive. I like the way that he is... Cabello, yeah, it was Tosin. Tosin went up and vetoed the penalty. Noni looked okay to take it. It looked like Nkunku was, going to be relatively fine with him taking it as well, but Tosin went up there and kind of put the kibosh on it and sort of said, no, Nkunku's going to take it. So 3 goals for Nkunku in 3 matches. I know 2 of them were penalties, but, he's an important guy for us at this point. Very important. So Reece is playing that right center back position, which I think a lot of us had maybe thought that he was going to play a little bit more. It brings a couple of different options, when you start to talk about just the running, right? The running back and forth from the midfield is something that you're always concerned with Reece James. But if he is playing that position, right, what we saw against Celtic was that right center back, which was Tosin at times. He couldn't recover when they turned the ball over in these areas, and the winger was making a run, and whoever was making a run, this was a pass that was really bothering Tosin. So Reece James is a little bit more mobile, a little bit more physical in that area, so his ability to kind of close those down is interesting. And if you're not happy with your left back options, you can easily have Malagusto play left back and then have him invert, and then you don't really have a problem with that. So, yeah, Cabello, really good point. It is a good from Tosin. I mean, Madueke, we saw last season about the penalty shootout against Everton. There was such a big problem with that. So having a leader to come out there and squash that right away is really important. So interesting enough, Malo Gusto is given the live. So one thing to notice about Chelsea's build-up, just in general, is that when they have the ball and they're trying to break somebody down, whatever side they're going to, right? If they're on this right-hand side and Badiashile has the ball, they're not directly, Dewsbury-Hall, nice little pass to Guiu from Dewsbury-Hall. It's a very up and down game, so it's going to be hard to kind of break down some of this stuff, but that inverted midfielder is coming out into these spaces to create a link, right? So he's linking out here and eventually, pulling defenders out as well. So that creates, overloads and ability for more people to slide in and create some interesting, mismatches essentially with numbers. And then that can also be, Kieran and Dewsbury-Hall, or that left 8 can come out there as well. And then you'll see when the ball comes over on this side, it's Nkunku that comes out and is creating that link. So there isn't like that, right back necessarily to connect it to get to the wingers. So it's mostly going to be those 8s popping out and creating the little pass to the right wing or the left wing as we see. But Chelsea have looked good so far. They've looked really, really sharp at this point. So I'm impressed thus far with what I've seen. Guiu is definitely holding up the ball quite a bit, and his pressing has been really, really good. What do you guys think of Mark Guiu? I really like Mark Guiu. I think, if you do bring in Victor Osimhen, then you maybe have situation where he might have to go out on loan, because then you have, Jackson and Osimhen and Nkunku. But you do have to consider that Nkunku has only really played that 8. He has not played striker at this point. So is he really seen as a striker under Maresca? If that's the case, then you could bring in Osimhen and keep Guiu on the squad as well. Cabello, another good point. We lose a lot of Reese's long-range passing and crosses inverted or even at right center back. Yeah, it does limit him. It does limit him to some extent. But one thing that you should notice is that when you start to look at the back 3 in general, right? When you look at the back 3, you're going to see a couple of different things, right? And this is very early stages of building in Maresca's system. It's not necessarily, an end product. But what you did see at Leicester was specifically those center backs have the, ability to play these long passes into the channel. They do. So when you're building out of the back, you're going to see Guiu, you're going to see Madueke, you're going to see all of these positions make these long runs. And even in Celtic, when they didn't really turn out, those runs were being made. So it's up to those center backs to do it. And you also now have a group of center backs back there. You have Tosin, Reese, Wesley Fofana, Levi. What's one thing that they can all do really well? And that's long passes. So there's a reason why Chelsea have gone for that profile, because they can make those long passes. So as of right now, it does look like we'll lose some of the crossing and whatnot. However, you can still see some long balls. And Maresca's side doesn't necessarily cross it as much as you would think. So it's not really a part of the system. Wow, nice save from Robert Sanchez. Club America guy on the right wing over here. Why isn't it moving? Here we go. Club America is on that right wing over here. Malo falls back into his left back position, cuts in on his left-hand foot, and Sanchez makes a great diving save over here. One thing that I've been impressed with, and it led to a corner, so that's why I'm bringing this up. One thing I've been really impressed with is Chelsea's set-piece defending as well. I think, you bring in a lot of height. That helps you quite a bit. Especially, and also in the attack, they haven't scored from it, but you're seeing them get into more advantageous positions when they do that. So if any of you are watching the game or have any comments, feel free to chat. I love this to be an interactive watch along where you guys can kind of express your thoughts out here. And we can kind of talk about, what you guys are seeing as well. It's not as fun when I'm just talking for the whole time. So feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments about anything that's going on with Chelsea. Doesn't have to be this game, but I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing with Lavia this preseason. I think you're starting to really see that quality and understand why we bought him. He has great technical ability. That's a certainty. His ability on the ball is really impressive, and his ability to, play in those advanced channels, and you saw it on the penalty. If you haven't seen it already, his ability to dribble and find lanes and stuff is really impressive. Cabello, do we know why Viega hasn't received his opportunity on his favored left-hand side of defense? So against Celtic, he was playing left center back for about 10 minutes. He hasn't really gotten that run of games. I think Maresca's sort of balancing and understanding the time that it takes to learn his system and focusing on getting the guys that are actually going to be out there and on the team and playing quite a bit and focusing on that, because I mean, these are invaluable minutes that you're not, so that's why you see such strong lineups from Chelsea consistently, right? Madueke with a turnover. So you're going to have a problem with that, right? You're going to have a problem trying to balance that, because it's not just, hey, let's see who these guys are. It's, a lot of that is done in training and understanding if they're at that level. So, if Vega is going to make this team, he's going to have to really do it in training, I think, because I think Maresca is going to understand that this system there needs to be time in match minutes that go into learning how to play this way. So you're going to see a lot of these top guys get a lot of minutes, right? Which is kind of a shame, because, you do have Cole Palmer and Marc Cucurella and, Caicedo, which haven't played at this point, and also Enzo. Wow, you just saw a really lovely, lovely bit of interchange from Chelsea in the build-up. So you have Dewsbury-Hall sort of slipping back, right? And this has been a Romeo Lavia show to this point. So you'll excuse me while I try and get these guys into place. It'd be nice if I could just say what I'm hoping that goes on, and then it shows up on the screen. But that's not how it works, unfortunately. So Chelsea are building up, right? So as they're building up, and this is an interesting little problem that Chelsea kind of had in these first couple matches, but when you're building up and you find Lavia, if they can beat that first defender, it opens up a world. Raheem Sterling passes it. Oh, KDH just went over the bar. Oh, man. Lavia with an excellent pass to Sterling. But, Lavia breaks down that guy, and you start to see a movement, right? The center back comes up. You're in a situation where you're leaving 2-on-1, and he just missed Dewsbury-Hall right here, and then he could have let on Sterling. But we just saw a really nice pass from Lavia in running the channel, right? He's bossing the midfield at this point. So Lavia is here. Sterling makes this cheeky run in behind, and Lavia just puts it on a plate for him, So people recover or whatnot. They get back, and then you do see the streaking Dewsbury-Hall come into this area. Obviously, there's, more center backs and whatnot back. Passes it. Dewsbury-Hall puts it over the bar. But I think this match, more than others, you're seeing that possession and build-up, right? So you saw against Wrexham and against Celtic somewhat that the pressing, what was there from some of the guys. What we're seeing now is that the pressing is happening. Raheem Sterling just got a turnover. Just got a turnover just from effort, just from pressing, just from getting into these spaces and in Club America's build-up. So far, this is, to me, the most Maresca-like game that you would like to see thus far. And I think, as we had mentioned, time is going to be the biggest benefactor for this team, and time on task and practicing it. But you're seeing all of the aspects of it you really want to see. You're seeing the pressing. You're seeing the eights be super creative. You're seeing, the inversion of the right back or the left back makes sense. I'm really enjoying with what I'm seeing right now out of Maresca. And I want to thank you guys all for being here. If you wouldn't mind, if you're not already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like this video. It's an amazing boost to the algorithm to get more people in here to continue to grow this community. Also, as always, I would like to thank Simon Phillips, or Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea with Simon Phillips. As many of you may know him from Twitter. He is an amazing person, amazing content creator, runs an amazing blog that I've had the privilege of starting to write for and creating this type of content for. If you go ahead and find him in the link in the description, you can go to his live blog and check out some of his work and great transfer source materials. You know, he was on the OSM and stuff a day or so before. So, you know, really top guy, really top source. It's nice that these games are a little earlier. I know for the people in the UK and in different countries, it might be an odd time for you, but for me, it works for me. This is perfect, 6:30. So last time was at 9:30. It was a little late. You know, Cabela, I don't know if you have the game on right now. Oh, Guiu with the goal. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall with the assist. That's 2 summer signings connecting. Guiu with the beautiful header. And Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall put it on an absolute plate for him. 2-0 to Chelsea. This is what we wanted to see in the preseason. Guys that are working, you know, together. You're seeing, was that Sterling over here? Dewsbury-Hall has been really impressive since he came on. Sterling had it here. Dewsbury-Hall takes his man and runs. That leaves Guiu down here with the other center back, gets in front of him. Pass comes here. And Guiu with the beautiful little flick on. Oh, that is some top stuff right there. Let me adjust the score. That's fantastic. 2-0 to Chelsea to start off. We're only 20 minutes in. Chelsea have been looking fantastic. And Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall has had a huge part of that. Absolutely instrumental. So you're seeing some of the quality. And right away, Club America gets the ball and Chelsea are pressing. Guiu is running around, Sterling's running around, and Kunku's running around, causing lots of problems for Club America. But Cabela, what I was going to say is that, you know, you saw Reece James with that long diagonal pass kind of to KDH. That's the type of stuff that you could see. Now, it's probably not going to lead to as many goals as, him crossing. Body of Shield comes up, really nice. So one thing you do notice still is that center back is still pushing up. We saw that in the Celtic game more than we saw it against the Wrexham match. But as Club America are building up, and I'll show it to you on the tactics board here, as Club America are in their build-up stage, let me get this set up for everybody. As they're in their build-up, if one of these guys that Body of Shield is marking comes up, so we'll put them here. Okay, good, we got it now. So if one of these guys comes up, Body of Shield follows. They man mark all the way up into their attacking half. Now, that can cause some problems. So if we see that pass comes there, the ball goes, if he can flick it back, that's a center back out of position, and good teams will take advantage of that. They'll send a runner and they'll try that over the top ball. And especially with that high line from Chelsea, you're going to see, opportunities go, happen that way. So I'm not entirely sure about the tactic itself of bringing those guys in, bringing that center back in to mark that high, because it could cause some problems. But I guess I just haven't seen it enough to truly understand, how that could play against, a good Premier League team or a European opposition, which luckily for us, we're going to have some really tough tests coming up. Saturday, Man City will be doing another watch along here. You're also going to see them play against Real Madrid and then Inter Milan, and then the season starts. I mean, it's the 31st in America. The season is, 18 days away from today. So quite a bit of business that needs to get done as well for the transfer window and whatnot. But yeah, and I think Guiu could benefit from staying as a second option at Chelsea. I really do think that he could, he could do the job. I don't think he can't do the job, right? It's all about minutes and getting him the right opportunity. You don't want to send him on loan because you don't want to then, be like, oh, he's just another one of the loan army. But he's 18, he's young, so we'll definitely have to monitor that, and I think he'll only leave if Osimhen comes in and they deem that Nkunku is going to play in that striker position as well. Because I think as much as Jackson's going to play, striker, he'll play some left wing too, and I think if you have really good build-up from Chelsea, really good, if you have Osimhen come in as well, Jackson moves, plays some left wing, and then maybe you could put Guiu in even if Osimhen comes in. Lavia has been really fantastic. You're really seeing him come into his own. And I think he's in a great role because he has the freedom to move up into the box as well because of that cover, because you have, you can move Gusto back and cover that position, and you can have Lavia sort of show up and affect the game in this way. Romeo Lavia has been really, really good. But yeah, the center backs also have a really great passing range, as mentioned in the chat. And yeah, I think they could Noni. Oh, just no end product. That's sort of the problem with Noni. I really like him. But he just has some problems, He just has moments where he can't finish, which is somewhat troubling. But this is his year. He knows that this is his year. He knows that he needs to be able to really showcase what he can do because, clearly Chelsea were going for Michael Olise. Clearly they are looking for another winger. For him and Mudryk, it's very imperative that he has a good season and shows some progress because I think right now you could sell Noni and you can make your money back with minus what you've already paid. But he really needs to perform this year. Really, really does. It's very important. So Chelsea have not had the majority of the possession. They've only had 40% of the possession. 3 shots on goal. However, they seem to be really taking care of business on the field. Romeo Lavia has been my standout player thus far in the first half, in the first 27 minutes or so. Guiu scores the goal, but Lavia has looked really, really good at this point. Chelsea look more comfortable too. That's another thing. They just look more comfortable. What are your guys' expectations for this year? What do you sort of think? Of where you would like to see Chelsea. I know the easy answer is top 4, but I think top 4. Winning the Conference League. Going deep in a couple cup competitions, and you're at the mercy of the draws really for the cup competitions. If we would have played probably a better team in some of those early cup matches, who knows if we would have made it through last year, but we were kind of blessed with the draws at that point, so that's kind of a crapshoot, but definitely top 4 and challenging in the cups, and you have to win the Conference League, I think. I mean, there's no team that's really on our level in that, so I would have a hard time if we didn't win it, and I think that we have a squad that's deep enough and positionally versatile enough where you can still play a lot of good players in those competitions. So Lavia is also coming up quite a bit, right? Lavia, when Club America's in their build-up, You do notice that Lavia is chasing and almost playing parallel with Dewsbury-Hall. Gusto is sort of staying as that deep defensive player here. And it's kind of different, based off of where what players are in the game. Are you going to have Enzo do that role? Are you going to have Caicedo do that role? There's a few different ways that you could look at that and sort of see those guys play in those positions. Yeah, consistency is important. I think consistency is one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most. Really focusing on knowing what kind of team I'm going to get week in and week out. I think the pressing is also an important thing, right? When you look at the pressing of Chelsea and you start to see that needs to be there every week. There can't just be some matches where they're doing it great, some where they're not. And I don't expect them to win every game, obviously. And some things are going to be challenging. There's going to be challenging times. There's going to be slumps and whatnot. But I think overall, you do want to see consistency because Chelsea was very inconsistent. And, as I just said, there could be one-off matches where you're sort of not necessarily on it that day. And that's fine. I mean, you can't expect them to be perfect. But limit those inconsistent times, I think it is important, really important. If you haven't already, my socials are on the side at CFCDP1 on Twitter. I love communicating with all of you on there as well, giving thoughts and whatnot. So please go ahead, hit a follow. Robert Sanchez has looked a little bit better, actually, with his distribution this match. Maybe Jorgensen kind of lit a fire under his you-know-what. Oh, Noni in on goal. Noni, no end product. I think Noni is trying too hard. I think he knows he can score, and I know he can do these things, but sometimes he just doesn't. The brain doesn't work as quick as you would like, right? It doesn't work as quick as you would, when you get into those key scoring opportunities. It's really troubling because there's a talent there. His dribbling is good. When he gets his shot off, it's usually, a good opportunity, and if not, it goes in at the very, so it's tough because, you saw Reese play a really nice pass right there, getting up the field. Madueke really had an opportunity to play Guiu in, and he just didn't. So I'm not entirely sure. And if you don't play Madueke, do you say, okay, we're gonna play Cole Palmer out there, and then we're gonna have KDH and Nkunku in there? I mean, it's not as cut and dry because then you move Palmer out to the right, and then you lose some of his creativity that he has in the center of the pitch. You try to earmark a player to take a step and fit in that role, but if Madueke can't do it, then I'm not entirely sure how Chelsea. Nice ball from Malo Gusto over to Sterling. Sterling on the break, kind of just runs into a defender. What are you gonna get with what? I will say that Sterling must have been on social media this summer because he has specifically been laying off every pass on a break. That time he tried to take it himself. He seemed like that's what he wanted to do from the get-go, and he turned it over. But would I take $30 million from Newcastle for Madueke? Probably. I wouldn't take it now. I think that he has an opportunity to do better. I think he has an opportunity to build that value up. So I would like to say, okay, let's bet on him for one more year, and then see if that value can go up a bit. Because I think, when you bring in Estevao, you bring in Kendry Paez, there's going to be an opportunity for them to, win that job right away. You want to ease them into it, so you're not going to give them every match. But when you start to talk about those talents, they're going to need to play, and you're going to have to sell Madueke eventually, I think, because he's going to want a bigger role. But then you say, okay, well, what if he has a bad year and now you're stuck with him and now it's $25 million? So it's a tough conversation to have. Plus, you don't have the cover this year. That's the problem. If it was next year and that offer came, I would say, yeah, sure, we can move on. But right now, I would probably keep him. Oh, and Gusto to Nkunku to Dewsbury-Hall. Oh, it got deflected. But a really, really nice break there from Chelsea. Nkunku going into these channels. It was a very nice pass from Madueke here. Lavia was back here. Madueke went to Gusto, who played in Nkunku. Guiu crashed the net, pulling two defenders. And Dewsbury-Hall was able to show up right here. Nkunku passed it. Dewsbury-Hall got a nice shot, got deflected. Great buildup is correct. I think Chelsea have looked really sharp in the buildup thus far. I'm really impressed with Kieran and Dewsbury-Hall. I mean, you know what he is talent-wise, but he seems very comfortable, and probably unlucky not to score a goal at this point. Has had a few opportunities, a few shots. But if you were here in the beginning of the stream, you should remember that I said that to you. I said, look at what Kieran and Dewsbury-Hall had in terms of shots last season. It was almost 3 times as much as he had in his entire senior career. His position, there's shots that are going to come. No doubt about it. So you ease that transition to Maresca's system by putting somebody there that knows that role. And, you can see some immediate success, which I think the whole hope of Dewsbury-Hall was, right? We did see there also, after the last play in the Chelsea end, this wasn't necessarily on the inverted fullback side, but Madueke did not track back enough, and they were able to find a little pass. I'm all sorts of messed up here. They were able to find that pass in that channel, and that hurt us against Celtic quite a bit, that pass did, right? So, that diagonal, now Reece is strong and flexible and quick enough to get back, but when it was Tosin out here, that was not the case against Celtic. Talking about KDH, are you a fan of selling Gallagher? Yeah, I am. I think, I also have to think about what the club is seeing and not seeing in training. Not saying that he's not working hard. Not saying that, this is something that's far back before Maresca came in. They've wanted to sell Gallagher. I think if you can get a decent fee, and move him outside the PL, that's fine with me. The brief that came out today, we talked about it in the beginning of the stream also. When Gallagher was, offered supposedly a 2+1 deal, and people are like, well, why didn't they offer him more? The deal was put there to protect his value. You could see that. However, I would sell him. That's just kind of where I leave it at. I would sell him. I think that we have cover in that position now. We signed KDH. And Nkunku could play there. Carney could play there. You can gain some good profit on Gallagher. What a pass from Reece from that right-handed right side. Yeah, so, when we were talking about it earlier, that's a great example of that pass Reece found right through here, right through a crowded area, and found Dewsbury-Hall. Now, Dewsbury-Hall couldn't control it, but that's a really good example of his passing range from that right-sided center back position. But back to Gallagher, yeah, I think I would move on. I'm okay with that at this point. I'm kind of tired of the saga. If he has any chance of leaving for free, but you can get something for him when moving him to Madrid, I think I go ahead and do that. Yeah, Favor, you're right. KDH is doing well with the balls and going in. Yeah, he had a couple of shots that one was deflected, one was just over the bar. But he had that really nice assist to Guiu that you got to love. So you're seeing the beginning, of him continuing to be comfortable in the system. That's the most, that's why you bring a guy like that in. You could drop him in and understand that he's going to know the role. He's going to play well. And it is Club America, so you do have to take that with a grain of salt, right? So you can't necessarily be all gung-ho about it, but he does look good. And Lavia looks really good. I think Lavia looks fantastic. I think when you start to talk about, a signing of the season, he could be it if he continues to play that well, just because, he didn't play really last year, so I almost consider him a new signing. I must say, though, for the people that do have the game on and aren't just following along, Robert Sanchez's distribution is a heck of a lot better today. I'm not sure if what was up that last game, but it does look better, and maybe it is Jorgensen who kind of lit a fire under him, but the distribution has been much, much better today. And I kind of like Reese in this right-sided center back role. Madueke, a nice run in, a pass, slips. Sterling saves. Oh. Chelsea had a few opportunities. I think the pass was meant for KDH, but he slipped. Let me just see here. Yeah, it was for KDH. He slipped. A really nice save on the Sterling shot, and Mallow put it wide. But let's really talk about what we just saw, because what we saw here was another intricacy of Maresca's system. That's using these 8s in Dewsbury-Hall and in Nkunku to play guys through. So Reese does a really nice job finding Nkunku here, right? So Nkunku gets the ball, and immediately the defender takes a step, Madueke is keen on that, makes the run in behind, and finds him here. Madueke, gets the guy off of his shoulder here as well, and actually finds, Guiu's crashing. Dewsbury-Hall's here, he slips, and Sterling eventually ends up with a shot on target. Yeah, at least we are winning the match. It's been not fun after the Celtic the Celtic defeat, and then the Wrexham game, which wasn't really that great. The first half was okay. Another good pass from Robert Sanchez. I like Lavia, man. I like Lavia a lot. I think he's been really impressive. But I love these watch-alongs, but I always tweet a lot during the match, so people are probably like, why aren't you tweeting as much? Well, if they understood that I was doing this and they would come in here, they could just hear my thoughts firsthand. And I need a break from talking for a second. So what do you guys think overall? I think this has been, if you're watching, the most impressive match that we've seen so far in the preseason. Chelsea have done a really good job of implementing and utilizing all of Maresca's tactics. The high press, the inverting of the midfielder, using those 8s and 10s to facilitate, through balls. This is all stuff when I did my review of Enzo Maresca that I saw at Leicester City, and we didn't see that a lot against Wrexham or Club America, but we're seeing it now. We're seeing some of those things start to happen a little bit more and more. And that's what you would just hope to see, is progression, right? Progression for these players. It'll be interesting to see who comes on at halftime. They gave at Celtic and Wrexham, some players got extended minutes and some players didn't. I think against Celtic, Chelsea, Maresca kind of said, hey, you guys played like crap. Let's give you some more opportunity to sort of figure out what you were messing up before. But this has been a fantastic half from these players. It's been a fantastic half from Chelsea. I would like to see a little bit of rotation as we get into halftime here. We will talk about it. First half, top three, Lavia, KDH, and Sterling and Madueke. Yeah, I would say I think Reece James has looked pretty damn good too. I think he's looked really comfortable in that right center back position, and it's not necessarily the crosses that are, the biggest thing, but it's those long diagonals and playing those little tight passes into the midfield that I've really enjoyed as well. Chelsea have another opportunity here with a couple seconds left in the half. Madueke on the right wing, a little step over, looking for an option, and Nkunku tried to place it in the top corner, but Madueke tried to put some skill on in this right-hand channel. Found Nkunku popped up right over here, and he just tried to place it in that top right corner, but it was a great save from the Club America keeper. And Nkunku's going to have a lot of opportunities in those, that 10 and the 8 channel, the top of that box midfield. This is the box that I'm talking about, the inverted midfielder, the defensive midfielder, the 8 and the 10. Really, really impressive stuff thus far from Chelsea. Really happy to see. All right, so that looks like it will be it for the half at this point. Just a few seconds left. Yep, it's halftime now. So, let's talk about that first half. Some really interesting stuff from Chelsea. Some great play, I thought. Guiu, I thought, looked good. I thought everybody looked good. I don't think anybody really had a bad half. KDH was active. Sterling had some opportunities. Haven't really seen much from the center backs. I mean, defensively wise, they seem to have handled their opportunities pretty good at this point. Club America really isn't offering much. I think they only have one shot on goal, so it's not too hard, but this is a great exercise for Chelsea, showing the possession-based style, owning it, bossing it. Romeo Lavia has looked really good. My number one player thus far. Really impressive what he's done. He's going to be basically like a new signing, guys. He's really going to be, a renaissance in the midfield. How many times did we see Caicedo and Enzo? And that's totally fine. And if that partnership works, that's great. But with however many games we have in the season, Romeo Lavia is going to be imperative. And he just looks miles above, these Club America players, obviously. I hope to see him against Manchester City, Real Madrid, and Inter Milan. Hopefully do a same level of performance. But I've been really impressed with Romeo Lavia. And getting Tosin in is looking like great business. Yeah, Tosin has looked very, very good at this point. Calm, good passing range, has a good ability, airily, which you're going to like. I mean, you look at Chelsea's business. They brought in tall guys. They brought in Badiashile. They've brought in Tosin. Levi Colwell was here, obviously. But, you see that height is so important to this team. And when they lack it in the midfield a little bit, you have to get it somehow. And they got it in the center back positions, which I really like. Peter, yeah, Chelsea's looking good, man. So, really happy. Really happy thus far. Really happy. This is the response that was needed. When we start to look at the second half and start to look at some of the subs that could be coming in right away, I think we're kind of at the end of the line with the Ugo Chukwu situation. He might come in simply because Eric was an excellent guy in the previous watch-along that we had. He said, am I late to the Guiu Love Fest? No, We've gotten into a lot of Guiu. This time it's Romeo Lavia, though. We have been really hot on Romeo Lavia in the chat today. And just he's looked really good. But Guiu, that flick on, you love that. He's aerially, acrobatically, very, very good at such a young age. And his body control is really good as well. But back to the subs. Maybe we bring in Jorgensen, give him a little bit of run. Interesting to see if Enzo Fernandez will play. It could be, get him into the match squad and get him, warming up and stuff and just kind of replicating that match day experience. Wesley Fofana, I'd like to see. Vega is another guy that played about 10 minutes in the last match, but he got in and Ben Chilwell didn't. So if that's not telling, I don't know what is. So we might see Vega as well. Carney, Mudryk, I don't know if we'll see Broja or not. We didn't see him against Celtic, which was interesting. I think he's out the door. And the rumor that came out was like a £27 million bid came in from a Premier League club from a Spanish source. So I'm not sure where they got that from or how they got that. If it's 27 million and even 18 of it is up front and the rest is add-ons, I'm all over that, because that's just more money in the banks. And I think Chelsea could probably bring in like, I don't know, 100-some more million in sales at least. And we've already brought in about 90. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good window. And you can maybe even sneak a Victor Osimhen in there and not be too concerned about your finances, at least in the short term. Hi, Jason. Yeah, no worries, man. I appreciate you jumping in. Are you watching the match on the Chelsea app at all? I presume. It's been good. It's been good so far. I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts were on the first half. Who your man of the match so far is. For me, Romeo Lavia has been absolutely excellent. I don't really think that anybody in the first half had a bad half. I thought Sanchez's distribution was something to be seen. I mean, he's definitely sort of picked up from the last match. I think maybe bringing in the new goalkeeper sort of woke him up a little bit, hopefully. But if he plays like this, you can live with that. But he is prone to a mistake or two. Eric, any chance Newcastle could buy Madueke before the second half? The end product is a concern. It's something you hope that he would continue to get better at, but he just seems to have these brain freeze moments in the box, and it's a bit troubling. He's not very instinctual when it comes to shooting opportunities, rather than, when he's dribbling, it all feels really natural to him. But when he gets, okay, I got to shoot, it seems like he doesn't have that instinctual bit, right? You watch like a Cole Palmer and Nkunku, and it's instinctual. I know what I'm going to do before I even get the ball. And Madueke just doesn't seem to have that at this point, which is concerning. I'm ready to give him a little time. I'm ready to give him about, a season more, because this is the season that he needs to perform. But we're getting close. I'm getting close. I'm getting very close. If this was next year and we had a Estevao and Kendry Paez that could play in that position, I'd be like, yeah, but you don't get Elise. You start to say, okay, if we get Victor Osimhen, does Jackson move to the left and Mudryk and him play over there and Sterling come and plays on the right? Yeah, you could consider it then, perhaps. Cabello, is Palmer getting moved centrally, or is he seen as a starting left wing or right wing? I think overall, when you start to look at Palmer, I don't think it's going to be as binary. I think, he did really well in Poch's free-flowing system where there wasn't that rigidness, so to speak. But you also say that's what kind of makes Cole Palmer great, right? That's what makes Cole Palmer so good, is his ability to pop up in different little channels. So I don't think you want him on the right wing, because I think the right wing positions are a little bit more rigid. But if you see where Nkunku is popping up or KDH is popping up, it's in a few other areas, right? So it's not as stagnant, so to speak, in those central areas as it is on the right wing. Because he needs a touchline winger on the right-hand side, and that's not Cole Palmer. If Cole wants to come over and, work with that guy, then fine. But to get the best out of Palmer, in my opinion, you need to, get him in the center, because you're going to give that guy more flexibility already. So if you do that, that's okay. Interesting from Eric also says, Madueke's attitude comes out occasionally too. I thought I heard some groans from the crowd early on when he was throwing his hands up like a toddler. Well, and you saw the penalty incident again, and I understand it's preseason where, it doesn't really count, but if Nkunku is the taker, let's not get all hairy. I mean, didn't we learn last season? And I understand Cole's not here, and Cole's the taker, right, when he's on the pitch, but it's a little bit of selfishness. And I think also he understands how big of a year this is. So from a personal level, I can sympathize with him wanting to take that penalty, right? Get a goal, get that good feeling going, get it going into the season. But if you don't start that hierarchy now of who's taking penalties and who's the top dog in that sense, then, you need to stop that right away. You need to squash that. And what I really liked was Tosin. I mean, Tosin coming up and basically saying, put the ball down, kid. And Nkunku's going to take it. So, you saw Thiago Silva do that last year, but there was a bit of a language barrier. He spoke English, obviously, but, Tosin could come in and very clearly talk to another English player and say, hey, what's that about? Also saw him getting into an off the ball with the American bench. Yeah, I mean, he's fiery. He's mad talented, but he something in between the ears perhaps is not necessarily all there for him at this point, which is a little frustrating. You hate to see that, because mentality is often something that it's not innate for everybody. People, and it's how you're raised, and there's a whole psychology behind it, right? But some people are just innately just mature and able to handle situations, like Palmer, right? People could boo him, throw stuff at him. That's not going to faze him. It's not going to throw him off his game. And people are emotional, and people have different, characteristics and whatnot. So I'm not saying that he could never overcome that, but it's a maturity level. But as I just said, I think he understands how big of a year this is for him at Chelsea. Because if he wants to go and be the guy somewhere, right, there's a lower level team where he can do that. And this team, when you start talking about top six, big Premier League clubs, hopeful, European clubs, you're not going to be the top guy at every step of the way. I mean, sure, in moments you can, but you're just not. I mean, you look at Real Madrid and you think about all the personalities that they have there, and it's how does that work? How do you have a manager and you have leaders on the field that can squash that. So, and also, with that being said, you need leaders on the field. So you talk about people that are consistently Chelsea need experience, Chelsea need leadership, and I get that from that sense specifically. I get that where it's for the people that aren't mature, they need to have players that can come in and put their foot down if need be. David, I love Chelsea for life. Yeah, man, me too. I'm a huge fan of this club. It's one of the most important things in my life. So it's excellent to have you here. It's excellent to have everybody here in the chat, everybody that's watched and tuned in thus far. It has been absolutely great to get connected with all of you and walk through this match. So, and it's been a good one. It's been a good one. I'm very happy I was at the game in South Bend rather than doing a watch along, because it would have just been a rant fest, and that's okay, but not for me. So we also, excuse me, content-wise, When I was down in South Bend, I recorded a bunch of footage, and I have a match day vlog that I will be dropping in the next couple of days. It's a lot of footage, so I'm trying to cut through it, make it palatable for everybody to watch. You know, time-wise, it could be like a couple hour long video if I kept everything in there. So that was super cool. So for the people that aren't from the U.S., so that you can see what it is like to go on a U.S. tour. David Q, shout out to our club, Chelsea. Yeah, man, I love Chelsea. I love Chelsea. But we have that vlog coming out, so we're super excited to drop that. That's a new bit of content that we're going to be doing with Simon Phillips. They're going to be doing, for the people that are based in the UK, they're going to be doing some match day vlogs. We're going to be bringing in Simon. We're going to be bringing in some of the other personalities from Cy Phillips and getting them on this watch along, so it's not just me talking all the time, but that's okay. I have a journalism degree, so I'm used to it at this point, talking all the time. So nothing to worry about with that. But we're gonna get some guests on. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna make it more interactive, and I love when you guys in the chat get involved because it makes my life easier, and I love hearing from you guys and having you guys, you know, leave what you guys want to hear, what your conversations are, what your takes are. So that's an always huge up. Alston, Trinidad and Tobago in the house, man. Appreciate you joining on, and I can't tell you how much it means to me and the Simon Phillips community that we have an excellent amount of people from all over the world that came in. I think my last stream, I had about 25 different countries represented, which was amazing to see the reach of the platform, the reach of the channel, and everything like that. So having everybody from different places, and Chelsea is a worldwide brand, so I'm not surprised with that, and we do have the best fans. So it's great to see all of these different places and people represented from, you know, so one club and everybody can kind of fit in that, which is amazing. So the players are starting to walk out onto the field. It doesn't look like there's too many changes at this point. Gusto looks like he's coming back out there. Tosin. Enzo is warming up very, very quickly. I think Enzo Fernandez may be coming on. David, yeah, I personally, I live in America. I'd love to go to London too, you know. And also, Philip Jorgensen, I think, is coming on. That would be a great thing to see his debut, see what he can do. But Enzo Fernandez is coming on the pitch, everybody. Very exciting. We will get the, the full list of the squad once I see everybody out there, and we'll see the subs. But Enzo Fernandez is coming on the field. I don't know exactly who he's coming on for at this point. It looks like Reese and Gusto are still out there. Could be Lavia. Let's see here. Let me adjust the lineup so I can get everything set up for you guys. So, yeah, Tosin is on still. Body of Shield is still on. Reese is still on. I have to add Jorgensen in here because Jorgensen wasn't on my squad. Number 12 for Jorgensen. Sorry about this, everyone. Just doing some little housekeeping stuff here, getting this tactics board all taken care of. Jorgensen's on. Reese is on. Tosin is on. Madueke is still on. KDH is still on. Lots of subs. Enzo's coming on, but for who is the question? Guiu, KDH, and Kunku. It looks like Madueke is still on. Reese is still on. We'll give you the full lineup here in a second, just when I can make sure I have it absolutely correct for you guys. I haven't seen KDH. KDH could be coming off, and then we would have Enzo playing in that 8 position, which would be very fascinating to see because we had gotten reports earlier today or yesterday, that Enzo was playing a little bit higher up the pitch. So that would be interesting to see. Let's see what comes out here. I haven't shown it yet, so we'll get to it in a second. All right, Sanchez is coming off and Jorgensen is coming back on. Dewsbury-Hall is out and Enzo Fernandez is on the field. So 2 subs at half. Dewsbury-Hall is off. Really good first half from him. Just came back. Needs to give him a little time. Enzo Fernandez is on the field, everybody. And Philip Jorgensen is on for Robert Sanchez. So we will get started here in a second, it looks like. Yeah, 11 with a complete, America with a complete new 11. I don't have the sound on, so I can't really hear that, but thank you for letting me know. They put out their, Club America put out their lineup like 5 minutes before it started. So I was able to get everybody in on the team sheet on that past screen that I was on. But on this new screen, I was not able to get everybody in. So you'll have to apologize bear with me on that. Still getting used to all the technical stuff. I'm the host, the producer, and everything here. So we are all cooking with the clock. It is 2-0. 2 changes, Enzo Fernandez and Jorgensen. I feel like it's going to be 50-50 playing time for both Jorgensen and Sanchez to start at least. But right away, we're not seeing Bergstrom. We're not seeing Bettinelli. We're just seeing the 2 guys that we suspect to be the main starters for this upcoming season. How quickly do we think Jorgensen's going to take over Sanchez's spot, right? That's another thing that we have to consider. Yep, Enzo is certainly playing higher up the pitch. He's certainly playing as an 8. Oh, a good chance for America. Deflected. Now, when we saw Chelsea play against Wrexham, we did notice specifically that when the new players came on, and it was a full changed 11 at that point. It was maybe not a full change. I think Carney stayed on, but it was relatively, pretty much just changed in full. But there was a bit of chaos that went afterwards. So a couple changes for Chelsea. Debut for Jorgensen and a preseason debut for Enzo. So that is great to see. But Club America has come out on the front foot already. Chelsea trying to get their footing. They've lost possession a few times now, and Club America looks a little bit more comfortable. I mean, this is going to happen in spades, but it's important for these guys to defend, especially against a low block. Because when you start talking about Premier League games and against better opposition, they're going to have to defend, and especially, if a team's pushing them back and whatnot. So hopefully we see some of Jorgensen's distribution at this point. I think that would be fun to see, because I think that's such a key aspect of, Chelsea's, build-up, and it's a key aspect of Maresca's system. So making sure that his distribution is good is another thing. And we just saw a really good one from the start, right? We just saw, let me build it out here for you. So we saw Nkunku playing in this area. These guys were pretty spread out at this point. Jorgensen plays a nice little pass here to Lavia. And Lavia does a really nice job playing the ball out here to Reece James, which then in turn starts the break. So we're already starting to see some of the distribution from Jorgensen, willingness. He's just got into the game. He's putting, his first ball potentially into harm's way, but he finds a Lavia who moves the ball to Reese, and it comes out to be a pretty good build-up and a pretty good opportunity. Chelsea just took a corner kick. Definitely some different corners that we're seeing. We're seeing some taken short. We're seeing some taken long. It's always Reece James taking them, though. When Cole Palmer comes back, he might have something to say about that. But yeah, we're seeing a good bit of change from the set pieces. You all probably know, we brought in a new set piece coach from Brentford who has been trying to revitalize that aspect. So good to see that working. Yeah, Enzo is playing as one of those top two guys in the box midfield for sure. So, he's giving him some space out, right? He's spacing out. He's not necessarily in the box, but he's in an area where he can be used as a facilitator, right? And as the game permits, he can move up a little bit too. I really like Guiu's hold-up. What a nice turn from Malo Gusto. And a turnover. Noni was sort of out there too far. That pass was a little difficult. Enzo's first touches here. Over to Nkunku. Lots of space. The game is very wide open at this point. Very wide open. Nkunku has moved over to that left-hand side where KDH was. So KDH got the nod at the left-handed spot. Nkunku is over here. Enzo comes in. Enzo plays at that 8. So I would probably suggest that this could go one of a couple ways. You could have Caicedo play that quote-unquote inverted fullback. Obviously, he's not a fullback, but you could have him play that role where Gusto is playing. And then you could also see him just play where Lavia is playing. But you might want to get both of them out there. So, you have to consider that as well. Sterling on the wing. Oh, ball kind of came out to Lavia after Sterling kind of put a move on and tried to pass it. Hit it right to the keeper. So, for those of you in the chat, which one of these new signings are you guys really excited to see at this point? I think KDH really kind of drew my attention. I've always kind of been interested in what he might bring when he actually got out there, but really some impressive stuff from KDH thus far. And Lavia is basically a new signing, so he's been good too. All right, Chelsea have a free kick outside of the box. This will be another good idea, or another good, interesting thing to see what we see from the set piece coach. It's probably a little far from shooting distance, but it might be right in the area. And you already see Nkunku hopping in these little half spaces too, right? You see him in these half spaces, and he's just, if you get him in with a little bit of area, a little bit of space, he's doing a good job. A little slow to get up, but seems like he's all right. It's the last thing that we need. The last thing that we need is Nkunku to have a problem. Cabello says definitely KDH and Jorgensen. Yeah, I think Jorgensen could be good. I like I said, I'm not great when it comes to goalkeepers. I know more about outfield players, but everything that I've seen suggests that he could be just fine, and the price might be okay. Well, you got Reese over the ball. The ball's probably, 10 yards outside the box, so maybe a shooting attempt. I'm not sure. Sterling looks like he's going over it as well, but Reese put it down. I think Reese is going to give it a go. Nope, Sterling. Right into the wall. Sterling's not bad at free kicks, but I prefer Reese taking free kicks. I think he's much better at it, but Oh, good opportunities thus far. I'd like to see Chelsea have, 3 or 4 goals this game. I mean, let's really put it on them. Let's really have a good feeling going into Man City on Saturday. So we will be having a live watch along for the Man City match. That's, I believe, at 4:30 Central Time. I'll have to double check that, but I believe that's at 4:30 Central Time. Let me double check. Yeah, 4:30 Central Time. That would be 10:30 UK. So a little earlier, so hopefully we can get some good interaction, especially on a Saturday when people aren't recovering from work or school or whatever they were doing. Cabello says if Jorgensen could have a debut season like Mendy, he would have returned on investment. Yeah, I think so. Wow. Okay, so that was really interesting what we just saw. So we saw Madueke sort of make a run into this channel here, right? Enzo did a really fantastic job in this position, focusing on Madueke making this inside run. And when Madueke made that run, Guiu also made a similar run. They both kind of beat their man, and they kind of just ran into each other. But that's one of the benefits of having Enzo play up in these positions is he can use his passing ability in these areas to find, good runners and whatnot. So I don't mind the Enzo in the 8. I don't. And for those of you that are here that may have just joined, please go ahead and click on subscribe. Every subscription, like, comment helps. I love chatting with you guys and, keeping the communication high and whatnot. So if you could just click that little button, absolutely free for you to click. You can go ahead and get all my latest content. I'll have a match review coming out probably in the morning, kind of talking about some of the thoughts and the recap of this match. I have that match day vlog also coming out, which is super good. I'm super excited about. The first one I've ever done, so hopefully it turns out well. But after looking at some of the footage, I think we'll have plenty of good stuff in there to get your guys' feel of, a tour of the U.S., so to speak, and what it's like for Chelsea fans when Chelsea come to a city near us and we can kind of show out and show up. It was a horrible game. Absolutely just horrible. I mean, 4-1 was not good. Okay, so it looks like some subs are about to come in. At the very least, are warming up. Vega, I saw, was running towards the bench. Mudryk was running towards the bench, and I think there was one more. But it looks like we might see a few subs at this point. I would really like to see Renato Vega come on for a little bit. Get some more feel. I know a couple of people in the chat earlier were asking about Vega and, if he can come in and play sort of that, position that we think he could succeed in on that left-handed side. I don't know if he's going to be inverting. He did not invert against Celtic, and I think, he prefers the right-hand side to invert with Malo Gusto. But, when Mark Cucurella comes in, you're going to have to consider him because he can do that job as well. But it looks like Vega might be coming in. It looks like Broja is going to come in as well. Well, Guiu has played quite a bit, so get Broja a little run. Maybe he scores a goal and boosts up that transfer value, or maybe that report of that £27 million is possible. Reece James is so good, man. Technically gifted. I do like him in that right center back position. I wasn't sure about it because, you do limit him in a sense, but he's sort of, his quality has really, shined in that sense because, he can still pass the ball well. He could still, hit those diagonals and whatnot. We saw quite a bit these diagonal passes if you look at the board here, this was KDH, but we saw these diagonals quite a bit to guys that were open, and he was able to find them. So that was very good to see. So we'll see when Mudryk comes in. It looks like Mudryk, Broja, Ugochukwu, and Renato Vega is going to be coming in. So a couple of guys that I'm sure a lot of us are excited to see more of in Vega. Vega and Mudryk, hopefully he gets a little bit more into the game. It looks like when, so far in Sterling's position, Sterling's gotten quite a few opportunities, so. Tosin making a really enterprising run up the field. Lavia drops back to replace him. And then when Lavia drops back, when Tosin was up here, immediately Enzo came down and replaced his role, so then Tosin can come back. So I would assume that's how it would work. If a center back is marking their guy all the way up there, Jorgensen. All right. First bad distribution from Jorgensen thus far. Was a little under pressure and kind of just got the ball out of harm's way and put it in the midfield, but did not look super calm there. But it's one moment. Nothing to really get judged by, right? So. But Chelsea's defense has looked solid, even when, and put into a little bit of pressure. Club America really hasn't had many chances. So we'll see Broja come on. He came on against Wrexham, didn't do too much. Hopefully he can showcase a little bit. Mudryk as well didn't showcase much against Celtic or Wrexham. So hopefully he gets a little bit more involved. Ugochukwu comes in as well. I didn't, it said Carney was on the bench, but when I saw him in the first half, he wasn't dressed. He wasn't in his uniform. He was in the training wear. So I don't know if he's available, even though Chelsea's thing said that he was on the bench. But so we'll have to see about the subs that are coming in. That there was a foul. The subs should be coming in now. Nope, not yet. Oh, it looks like the clock started over. Oh, yeah, subs are coming on. Wesley Fofana is coming in. Guiu's coming off for Broja. Ugochukwu's coming on. Renato Vega's coming on. So we'll just update the board really quick. I would assume that Nicholas Jackson will come out sometime in preseason. I'm not sure when, but I would assume that Nicholas Jackson would be ready eventually. So Mudryk and Kunku. Gusto. I should just have all the possible combinations of lineups, just in case. Vega's on. Reese is off. Leslie's on. They took Badiashile Shield out, too. So Wesley Fofana is playing center back, which is interesting. Just trying to get the formation right here. So I think this is what we're looking at, guys. So Leslie is sort of... they're in a pretty traditional back four right now. So they haven't quite inverted yet, but it looks like Vega's playing like that left side center back, left back. Gusto is playing here. Ugochukwu is playing as like that DM. Enzo's still playing up. I'll have to see if someone's inverting at this point. It doesn't really look like it. I mean, it kind of looks like Malo's trying to come in, but they haven't had enough of the possession to really show that. But they right now look like they're in a 4. They're kind of in like that. They're kind of in that formation. So Enzo is dropping back just a touch, and Nkunku is playing a little higher. So it's not... Nobody's inverting. So, in Maresca's system, right, obviously the inverting happens. But as a manager, you do want to be flexible in a sense where you can, you're gonna have to. You're not gonna be able to play the same way every single time. Get that clock figured out. It can only go up to an hour, I guess. So, scripts. All right, so we're in the 65th minute, everybody. So you'll have to excuse me. You'll have to excuse me on that. But we're in the 65th minute. It's always the clock. So another good set piece. Defensive work from Chelsea. And Nkunku almost just got dragged down. I mean, it's a friendly, man. Come on. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for the support yet again. We're just over 9,000 views, which is amazing for a midweek match where the time is really far off. People are working. Third match of the preseason, so people maybe saw what they needed to. But I'm really impressed thus far what we've seen with Enzo Maresca. Broja, good opportunity. Oh, got deflected and a kind of a good little save there from Club America's keeper. Broja has looked pretty good in the last few minutes. I just really like Nkunku's fluidity in this role. His ability to kind of move from left to right channels as he sees fit. I think if you have both him and Palmer playing that top, box of the midfield, because like usually it'll look like this, where you can see... you can see that box built out right here, right? So when you start to say, oh, okay, is this, instead of Enzo, is this Cole Palmer, or is Cole Palmer out here where Madueke is? That's going to be an interesting conundrum, really, because you're definitely going to have more flexibility if you play him where Enzo is right now. If you play him where Madueke is, he's really a touchline winger at that point, which takes a lot of his ability and goal scoring out of the match. So that's going to be one thing that I'm going to be interested to see, and it's kind of a shame that he's not here at this point, right? Because, all right, yeah, so it must have just been a little brief moment where they weren't inverting, but you do see Gusto now going there. Actually, Fofana's playing a right-sided center back. And Tosin is still in the middle of the pitch. So Broja's looked active. He's looked pretty good, to be honest with you. Hopefully that sale price can keep going up and up and up, people. Like I said earlier, there was a £27 million bid, I guess. So we're in the 68th minute now. Looks like Malo's down. Must be a cramp. He looks fine. He's high-fiving his teammates, so Might be time for Malo to come off. Malo's played quite a bit this match. Maybe Josh Achampyong comes on, I think would be the next substitution, I believe. Yeah, he wants a sub. He's fine. Looks like they're talking. Let's see who they're bringing on. Yeah, if Malo's down, that's not good. It appears to be a cramp, but there's no real reason to risk it at this point. Let's get him off. Let's bring. Oh, looks like Cam Newton's at the game. Former NFL quarterback. I don't know if any of you follow NFL if you're not from the U.S., but Cam Newton is in the crowd, just in the normal seats, which is nice. With his kids, it looks like. So that's always cool. Cool when you see the celebrities at the game. Yeah, so it looks like Malo Gusto is coming off. We'll have to see how they switch it around, right? He looks okay. He's walking off. Has a little bit of a limp. He's played the entire match to this point, so he got 70 minutes in, which is great. Ben Chilwell's coming in. So I think now, for the first time, folks, we might see Renato Veiga go into the midfield, which would be interesting. So we would see Veiga go in. We would see. Let's take Malo off for a second. Ben Chilwell would come in and play left-sided center back, and Veiga would be in the midfield. Now, there's always a possibility that Chelsea could just move back to a regular back four. They don't really have, you can invert Veiga as well. But we'll have to see. Yeah, it looks like Chilwell's just playing normal left back at this point. I feel for Ben Chilwell a little bit. I do. I mean, he's been injured. He hasn't been as good as he was when we won since we won the Champions League, but he did well while he was here. So you have to appreciate him for that. But it just doesn't seem like he has a role. So yeah, now we have Veiga going into the midfield as I suspected. He is playing on let's see. Yeah, he's playing on this side of the midfield. So it's still an inverted right back. This is something that we've sort of wanted to see from Veiga, right? We wanted to see him invert. He came on for a few minutes against Celtic and was just kind of playing a normal left center back, kind of where Ben Chilwell is playing on my chart. Jorgensen distribution, nice little play. We see that 2 times now where Veiga or another midfielder comes close and Jorgensen finds a nice little pass here as these guys are spaced out a little bit. The midfielder comes in. Ball gets played there. The midfielder then, makes the pass to the forward player out there. So that's nice to see. Nice to see some of these trends and aspects of the game that we've gotten, we've wanted to see in the last couple of games actually come into fruition. Not just in the first 2 games where we saw, great pressing and great activity and great motion, but we're actually kind of seeing it all come together now, which is nice. So it's been very comfortable. Now, Chelsea haven't really had too many chances on goal this half. I mean, we're in the 73rd minute, and I apologize with the clock. I know it says 13th, but I think it restarted at 60 minutes, so I'll have to figure out how to fix that. Last week it wasn't even running, so this week we got it running, so that's good. So progress, people, progress. So what are you guys looking forward to most this season? I'm looking forward to a few different things. I'm looking forward to some consistency as number one, and I think somebody mentioned that in the chat a little bit ago. Consistency is key. But we're also looking for, these tactics to kind of take their next, gradual progressions, their next steps, so to speak. Just checking the old Twitter sphere. So it looks like Vega comes in before Chilwell. Chilwell comes on because of a Gusto injury. So, I don't know. Writing's on the wall. Madueke, a really nice long ball. Broja is in, and he misses. Wow. What a chance. What a layoff for Madueke. Oh, and Broja just missed it. That is a really nice ball from Jorgensen, though, to get that pass there. Jorgensen found that run all the way from back here. It was a really, really good pass. So the Club America is up. They're pressing. These two center backs are here. They're kind of marking him, man marking him in a sense. And Jorgensen lays a long ball up here, and Broja kind of whiffs on it, but Madueke is running in behind. Madueke gets it, kind of playing on the center backs are a little out of position. Madueke does a nice ball into Broja, and he just misses it wide. So that doesn't help the value too much on old Armando. So hopefully that £27 million offer was real, and hopefully we have accepted it already, because that was poor, to say the least. But great distribution. Great distribution from Jorgensen there. I'm just going to turn the clock off. People don't get confused. All right, so we are in the 77th minute of this one. Chelsea seem to have a firm control on it. Would like to see them score another goal here. That would be great. They've really dominated, which is great. So you want to get this type of performance in before you go ahead and face Man City on Saturday, even though Man City is without quite a few of their players yet. A good performance like this always helps. Helps with the vibes. Helps with the feeling after you get beat down by Celtic. So they'll always play up. Oh, and Nkunku pen. And Nkunku draws a pen. Beautiful footwork. Oh my gosh. Beautiful footwork from Madueke. Dribbles past from Nkunku. Dribbles past three defenders. Just, let's see, do they get him? Yeah, he gets his body under him. I don't know what he's complaining about the Club America keeper, but it was a very clear-cut penalty in my eyes. So, very good from Nkunku. Very good. JW Madueke is a baller. I think he is. I think he has all the traits, man, but I think his end product is something that I'm a little worried about. I think it's something that he needs to consistently get better, and this is a huge year for him. Huge year. Madueke has the ball right now for the penalty. I think Nkunku's going to give him this one since Tosin came in and kind of put the kibosh on that one. So we don't want any penalty snafus. We don't want any issues with who's taking penalties. If Nkunku says, fine, take it, Noni, fine, but I don't want any players coming in and trying to nab a penalty. But Nkunku scored 3 times this summer Let's see if Noni can put this one in, get on the score sheet. That would be a good feeling for him, I think, to kind of hit the ground running, hopefully, and see the ball go in the back of the net. He goes back, waits for the goalie to move, and scores. Noni on the board. Good for his confidence. 3-0 to Chelsea in the 79th minute. 2 penalties, which I would hope would, be a few more open play goals. All things considered, which you hope grow, because I think Chelsea have had 3 open play goals of their, 6 that they've scored. So 3 of them have been penalties, which is good because you're getting in those areas and making, chances happen and whatnot. But you definitely want to see some more open play goals. They had a lot of chances in the first half. They were sort of unlucky not to score more than 2 in the first half. But Chelsea put it in. Good on Nkunku to let Madueke score. He knows how important he's going to be and how big of a year this is for him. So we love to absolutely see that. So let's see if Chelsea can add it on a little bit. Don't want to stop with any of these defensive mistakes. Vega is playing that inverted midfielder. Nice from Chilwell. Oh. Decent chance from Club America there, but Chilwell did a really nice job. Chilwell did a really, really nice job. Tosin kind of bobbled it in the box a little bit. And I want to thank you guys. We're at over 10,000 views for this episode, for this watch along. It's been fantastic to kind of chat with you all. Hope to build this platform even more so, right? Get more people in there, get this chat going, get everybody, ready for the season. It's preseason for us too. We're getting ready on Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea to bring you new content, daily, weekly, video, written, podcast. I mean, there's everything that you can find there, and we're happy to give you these clips now. So Madueke's on the break. He plays in Broja. Good tackle from Club America. Broja was kind of looking for a penalty there. Very open, very end-to-end game at this point. I've liked what I've seen from Jorgensen, to be honest with you. Distribution-wise, there was one kind of hairy situation where he was getting pressured and just got out of the box, but it wasn't a mistake, right? He put the ball, far enough away where it was not a problem. Couple more subs coming in. Christopher Nkunku is coming off. Really nice match from Nkunku. A goal, an assist for the other penalty that was scored by Madueke. Angelo is coming in. I would assume Angelo is going to play on that right-hand side. Madueke is probably going to come off, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And Tyreek George is going to come on and play that 10 role. This is how I would suggest. Yeah, Madueke is off. Angelo is on. This is what Chelsea is looking like right now. Tyreek George, good to see him get a couple more minutes. Definitely one for the future, but a guy that I think would really, I think he's going to be a really good player. I think he's going to get some minutes this year with the first team. Yeah, so George is playing that 10 role, I think. We haven't seen a lot from Mudryk in this preseason thus far. He has, he got 2 starts, one against Wrexham, one against Celtic, comes off the bench today on Lewis Sterling. Sterling, I thought, has looked pretty good this preseason when he came on. And that was one thing that people had sort of suggested, when Maresca came in. I thought also that maybe he would be a guy that could flourish a little bit under the system because, the rigidness of it, the expectations, the knowing where people are going to be at certain times, right? So having Sterling there in a system similar to Pep's in a way, kind could actually be very beneficial, I think, for him. And I think if he is making good decisions and whatnot, could be a positive. Could be a positive year for Raheem. And, you know, if Mudryk is pushing him, you know, not pushing him, then don't play it, Mudryk. That's fine with me. I mean, for him and Madueke, it's kind of put up or shut up time at this point. They really need to figure it out, because if they don't, you know, Chelsea are willing and able to replace you. They're still looking for a winger. They're also looking for, they were almost there for Elise. They've been looking at Nico Williams. They're ready to upgrade. So if the deal is right and you're not performing, it's kind of a time where you got to figure it out. Mudryk's been drawing a couple fouls, though. We're in the 84th minute now. So game is coming to an end. Anybody have any man of the matches that they'd like to put in the chat? For me, it's Romeo Lavia. I thought Lavia looked really good today. I thought he was really impressive. And I think everyone kind of had a good game. But Lavia was the standout, especially in that first half. I really enjoyed watching him. So actually, Tyreek's playing. This is swap. Tyreek is playing right wing, and Angelo's playing the 10. Angelo is very versatile. I think that he does have a future at this team. Maybe not this year. You know, maybe if Madueke moves on and Angelo has a good year at wherever he goes on loan. But I think Angelo could do it because he is versatile. He does have, you know, great technical skills. He has a lot of different characteristics that I think, you know, could be beneficial. And he does play that touchline winger role very well. And then we get into the conversation about the international loan spots. You know, I mean, I think Chelsea have already used 4 international loan spots, if I'm not mistaken. Anselmino, Andre Santos. Who else did they buy and loan back? I don't think Kendry is considered a loan yet. I don't think Estevao is considered a loan. I think we've already used 3. Oh, a nice from Tyreek. A great takeaway. He was offside. There was an offside. But really good pressing from Tyreek George. You have to love to see that from the youngster. Yeah, so Anselmino. Caleb Wiley, Andre Santos. And I feel like I'm missing one more. Well, and Leslie Ugochukwu, so they said could go on loan, is another one. So you only have 6 international loan spots, and then you start to think about all these players, right? I mean, you're not going to send Lukaku out on a loan with an obligation because that's a valuable spot. You're going to try and sell Kepa. It's a valuable spot. You know, and then Renato Vega is another guy that could go on loan. There's potential loan. Nice move from Angelo. Really good. I like Angelo. I think he's got some skill. Another Strasbourg loan would be good for him, I think. He definitely brings some talent. And when you start to talk about the new coach that they brought in to Strasbourg, right, they're running a similar system. So having Angelo go and play in a similar system where he's going to get game time is good. But you can only have 3 guys there. So Caleb Wiley is there. He'll be going there after the U.S. is done with the Olympics. And then Andre Santos. So you could send one more guy there. And I wouldn't be opposed to putting Angelo there. Oh, nice attempted cross from Enzo into Armando Broja, who got hit in the head, it looks like. So they've stopped the play. But Enzo operating in these roles right here, right? That's the exact type of play you're going to look for. That striker making that crash, that 10 making that crash, and Enzo using his right foot, to put it on a plate for him. And he did that for Broja, the good goalkeeping. It looks like he got him in the back of the head a little bit, but that's unfortunate, especially at the end of the game. I think he punched him in the head. We're in the 89th minute, about a minute left. Probably will be, I don't know. You never know with the extra time in preseason friendlies, right? It could be 4 minutes, could be 1 minute, could be no minutes. A lot of times they just want to get off the field, get going to their next destination, which is weird because Chelsea went from San Francisco to Indiana, and then they went from Indiana to Atlanta, and now they're going from Atlanta to Ohio. And for those of you who know the U.S., Indiana and Ohio are right next to each other. So to make this trip down to Atlanta was really out of the way. They should have went from San Francisco to Atlanta and then Indiana to Ohio so they could have stayed in one place for a little while. That's why I worry about these preseason tours, and I love when they come to the U.S., don't get me wrong, but it's just so much travel in such a short time. All right, we've reached the 90th minute, 3 minutes of stoppage time. So after this, I'm going to record a post-match review, which will be live on my YouTube. Should be up by the morning, wherever you are. So it's 8:26 p.m. here. So that should be up by the morning. Match day vlog will be coming out shortly after that. I will also have a recap up on Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea. So you guys can go ahead and find that, and subscribe. That'd be fantastic. You can like and subscribe to the channel. All of that support is amazing. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at CFCDP1 down there. So we'll cover the match thoughts on that video or on the written article on Cy Phillips. We'll get into that stuff. We'll keep going the last couple minutes here because you never know. Could get a break, could get another chance. Really impressed. Man of the match for me is Romeo Lavia. He was really good. KDH had a very impressive debut. Jorgensen has looked good in the moments that we've seen him thus far. Distribution has been good. Sanchez, I thought, was fine today. I thought his distribution was much better. But yeah, Romeo Lavia, and then Guiu scored the open play goal. Really nice header. So that was great to see from Mark, to see him get a goal. He's earned it. He's been working extremely, extremely hard this preseason, and I think that's been noticed. So even if we bring in Osimhen, I think there's a place for Guiu on this team. You might have to move Jackson over to that left wing a bit, but I don't see any reason why Guiu shouldn't stay in the squad, frankly. All right, we are in the last minute of extra time. Club America has a free kick. Enzo Maresca is laughing on the bench. He's happy. Joking around. That's what you can do when a 3-0 win happens. All right, we're at the 47-second mark. Goal kick for Chelsea. I'm assuming once this ball is kicked, the match will be over. And then, yeah, like I said, if you guys want to go ahead and subscribe, like this video, we will have a full post-match report coming out, a video that'll be posted on here. We'll have a report posted on Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea as well. That link in the description below. Go ahead and subscribe today to get all that amazing, amazing content. I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, everything like that. It's been fantastic, the support we've gotten on the first 2 watch-alongs. We've had 14,000 on the first one. We've had 10,000 on this one. So Really great turnout from all of you, and thank you for being active in the chat. For those of you who are, if you were not this time, we hope to see you next time on Saturday for the watch along against Manchester City. And really good match from Chelsea overall. Really happy with the entire performance. Really happy with everyone. I don't think anyone had a bad game, to be honest with you. And that is great. It's the tactics coming into play. And it's everything kind of working as they should. So I want to thank you all for coming and tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment to this video. Let me know what you guys thought about the match. And we will talk to you very soon. Look out for this channel for a new video coming out, and then the watch along on Saturday. Thank you, and have a good night.